皆さんこんにちは。U-LABO の小泉です。本日はですね、パッションプロジェクトの動画を見てもらいたいと思います。パッションプロジェクトって何なのっていうと、U-LABO で行っている課外活動なんですけども、自分の情熱を持ったことに対してひたむきに頑張っていって、それをプロジェクト化していって何かを成し遂げていこうっていうような活動です。そもそもなんで課外活動をやるのっていうところなんですけども、アメリカの大学ですと課外活動っていうのが入学審査に求められてきます。日本と違って机の上で勉強するっていうことも大切なんですけども、それ以上に机の上で学んだことをどう社会に役に立てていくかっていうことを実践していかないといけないんですね。その時にやっぱりやりたくないことについてやるっていうのはやっぱり違うことだなと思っていて、自分のやりたいこと、自分が本当にパッションを持って取り組めることについてそれを見つけて、それを実際にやってみるっていうのが非常に重要であるというところで、U-LABOでは毎年パッションプロジェクトというのを実践しています。今回ですね、パッションプロジェクト2024ということで、すでに発表会が終わりまして、2名の優秀賞を取られた方の発表をぜひ見てもらいたいなと思います。ではどうぞ。
Imagine waking up on the street every morning. Your stomach is growling since you haven't had any proper meals. Hello everyone, I'm Sana Kondo from Diablo Valley College. Besides my curiosity about the poverty issue, which is related to my major, global studies, I saw a lot of people experiencing homelessness during my life in the United States. And that makes me motivated to approach these serious issues through the project. The earlier statement explained the severe reality of the thousands of homeless people in this world. There are actually 582,000 homeless people in the United States. From the fact that Japan has only 4,000, you can notice how terrible the number is. Moreover, among this population, California carries about 100,000 homeless people, and this accounts for over 30% of the total number of homeless in America. This number is still greatly growing every single day. So what actually triggers homelessness? According to my research, a quarter of people became homeless from not having an affordable life. These are generally considered economic factors, which are associated with the larger size of the economic situation, like inflation. In contrast, I focused on other factors like family conflict and abuse by spouse or partner, which accounts for almost 3/4 of the reason. For example, I actually met a person who was forced to move out of the place because her parents did not accept her being transgender. As it happened in a small community like family, I realized that these are preventable if we could provide enough resources and support to overcome those situations. So for this project, I decided to focus on social and personal factors. Even though we just say resources in one word, what kind of resources are exactly available? There are two types: life support service and social reintegration service. Life support service are about providing direct assistance to meet individuals' daily living needs. This represents physical resources such as shelters and food banks. On the other hand, social reintegration service are about helping individuals become self-sufficient. This usually aims to develop your skills and ability to become ready to reintegrate into the society. The reason that more people are becoming homeless is that because people are not using those resources. In terms of life support, you can notice that even though there are more homeless people and more beds, the less people are using the shelter due to difficulties accessing the shelter, or they even do not know about the existence of shelter. Additionally, the chart on the right of the number of counselors per 10,000 people emphasize that people are not taking advantage of available resources even they do have the resource. Considering this reality, I visited an unhoused shelter called Boss Hayward, which is near my place, and repeated visits for 5 times to get to know about the residents. I met one woman there who was the person that I supported for 3 months. Today, I am just going to publish her name and simple background for her privacy. Her name is Guadalupe Garcia, a 30-year-old Mexican woman. She was born and grew up in a poor area in Mexico. Her parents went to Los Angeles for a higher salary in the field of agriculture. However, at some point, she lost contact with her parents and decided to go to LA in 2021, which is during the pandemic. Although she was able to get a job at the local supermarket initially and lived in the relatives' houses, the economic situation and her lack of English ability let her leave the job and also the places, and she only found herself staying in the homeless shelter in 2023. Now, I would like to move on to my approach to her. There are three primary ways of support: conducting self-analysis, support job search, and providing leaflets. Through the process of background research and self-analysis, my focus was on understanding personal characteristics. Based on my experience as a volunteer mental health counselor, I listened to her story carefully, and that allowed me to identify her strengths and weakness. After the self-analysis, I supported her in looking for a job, creating a strong resume, and sending them to the work position that fits her identity to prevent quitting the job in the short term. This is the actual cover letter that we created together. We did not hide the fact of homelessness and change it to the part to tell the passion and perseverance. One key milestone was securing an interview for a librarian position within the community, which is a significant step towards stable employment. The self-analysis process has been important in deepening the understanding of personal attributes. By clarifying the strengths and weaknesses, she has gained valuable insights into her own capabilities and gained clearer visions of her career path. Another approach I've taken involves creating a special leaflet to introduce the available resources in the community, reflecting the research that people are not really aware of the resources in society. I thought this step is necessary for people in the long term. Not only did I note the location of the shelter and food bank, but I also provided the online resources such as Coursera that allow her to improve her English skills. As she was really fluent in Spanish, but not in English, and occasionally needed to use translation between us, I provided this information so that she could develop her skills on her own. During the support process, I observed slight improvement in her English skills. She also seems becoming more confident in her ability to communicate, which positively impacts her interaction with others and supports better integration into society. Additionally, the leaflet addressed the importance of fostering a sense of security. By providing clear information on where to find the shelter and food, she told me that she felt more prepared to handle difficult situations and reduce anxiety. And for this support, I believe that we have to offer the leaflet that matches with the individual's personality, abilities, and location. During the support, I realized the two key strategies for offering effective support. One is to clarify the goal. This time, her goal is to eventually become able to earn $2,000 per month and go back to her hometown to see her brother. It actually helps her stay motivated and also helps me to provide the necessary encouragement and support. Another thing is to become a navigator, not a partner. Becoming a navigator is about shifting our role from doing everything for them to guiding them along their journey. This means offering tips and guidance that foster their sense of independence. Finally, I would like to wrap up my presentation by describing what the general public can do for homeless people to take it more personally to the audience. First, visit the shelter. Just knowing about the people who struggle with not having permanent housing is important and effective to provoke action in the future. Second, remove the stereotype. Please remember that being homeless is not a choice. It can happen to us even tomorrow. Last thing, do not give cash. While this approach seems compassionate, cash has a huge risk of being used negatively. Please give them meals or daily necessities to help them enhance their qualities of living. Overall, if we can provide these kind of support that I did it and which is personalized as a large organization, I believe that the number of homeless people will decrease slowly but surely. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for such a well presentation. I think it's super well structured. I haven't seen such amazing slides for a while, so that was very, very inspiring for me as well. I really like how you organize presentation in a way that, why am I doing this? These are the data, the quantitative, the qualitative. Maybe one tiny advice from me would be, so when you introduce the overall background, I wanted to know a little bit more about why it's causing this issue in America. So you talk about the number in America and Japan. So why are there so many homeless people in America? Is there like a deeper issue? Is it societal? Is it historical? Is it cultural? What's causing that? That's something I was a little bit more curious, but I would love to learn more.
Well, I guess I just want to say, first of all, that I think the speech, the English ability of yours is absolutely amazing. I think I was very impressed by that. I guess in terms of the actual presentation itself, I absolutely also loved it. I think in terms of area to improve, I really wanted to know more about, I guess because your project was so inspiring, I really wanted to know more about, how can, people like me who don't really know too much about ways we can help the homeless people. How can people like us, how can everyone else also improve? Do I just visit a homeless shelter? Like, what are some resources that are available, right? Because to me, if you tell me, visit a homeless shelter, I feel a little bit, I don't know, I feel like I don't know what to do, right? Like, where's the homeless shelter? How can I get connected, right? So, a bit of a resources in these directions, giving people directions on what exactly to do could be very helpful as well. But overall, I do agree that it was an awesome presentation.
Hello everyone, I'm Sora Kurosaki and I'm studying economics at Paloma College. I'm glad to speak to you about my passion project. Have you ever noticed how much your education cost is? As an international student supported by my parents, it was hard for me to realize it specifically. By my web app will let you realize and think about it again. Here's the contents for today. This project originated my major and my background. I chose this major, economics, because I was interested in decision making and resource distribution, including time and money. I believe both are critical for human lives, both in the short run and the long run. Also, as an international student, I've been suffering from the educational fee. There are additional costs for foreign students in the first place, and now we have the depreciation of Japanese yen. However, since I am not paying the tuition fee myself, I cannot understand how much they were. I thought there must be other international students that suffer from the educational costs, yet do not understand it very well. By combining my interests and my background, the action to take was obvious to me. To help international students with informed decision making about educational costs. This is the aim of my project. As you might know, international education is an investment. You can gain invaluable skills and future potential, but you must pay a lot of money to do so, and you need enough information to decide. In other words, the goal of this project is providing the necessary data for decision making. As the goals were fixed, I need to consider how to achieve it. Firstly, I started to think of the targets. Since both current and future international students would be benefited from realizing the cost in education, I decided to reach both. So, I need to reach those in the US and those in Japan at the same time. This is why I decided to create a web app that visualizes the cost interactively. Since I was new to web development, I started learning the fields of it. Web development is divided into two subfields, the front-end development and the back-end development. The front-end development works between clients and the website, and it is responsible for user experience and user interaction. Since then, the skills for the front-end development are required for this case. On the other hand, the back-end development works between the website and the web server, and it is responsible for databases. Since the web app was supposed to show only static information, meaning information that was already fixed when I created it, I didn't have to learn the back-end developments. Therefore, I only need to learn front-end technologies, including HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and Material UI, as shown. The schedule of this project is as shown in this slide. Due to the change of my major, I needed to change my project at the end of May, and finally, the direction of the project has been set on June 2nd. I have only 1 month and a half to complete this project. Since I had no background as a developer, I need to learn those skills from scratch. Although it was a tight schedule, I completed learning the foundation and started creating the web app on June 13th. I kept working on function and styling. The web app took its rough shape on June 8th, and I started working on refining the web app based on feedback I received. I completed revising on July 15th. Here's the web app itself. It visualizes the difference of the cost in 5 interactive ways. Let me show you this video. In the first page, you can guess the cost of community college and see how it is different from the real cost as shown in this video. You can move the graph as you change the slide, and you can see your guess and the real cost. And you can see the difference as just like this. In the second page, you can guess the cost of UC schools in the same way. You can select one school from UC Berkeley, UCLA, and UCSD to compare with your guesses. You can also change your school after you fix your guess. You can change your school and you can see the difference. In the third page, you can calculate the cost per lecture per hour. Default values are example common classes of a community college. In the fourth page, you would guess the average salary of the US and see the difference, just like the first page and the second page. In the final page, you can see how your money changes over time after entering either Japanese university or US university, you can change the graph by how you pursue your educational path. You can select one school from UC Berkeley, UCLA, and UCSD, then you can decide if you enroll in that school as a freshman or transfer from a community college. Also, you can choose either national or private school in private university in Japan to compare with. Through this project, I can understand the front-end development deeply, which is a significant step in my learning journey. Also, there are ways to apply these skills in other fields. Firstly, the experience of React development will allow me to learn React Native easily, which is one of the most popular cross-platform application framework. As an individual developer, it is hard to find resources to learn different languages suited for each platform, such as Swift for iOS and Kotlin for Android. If I create more mobile applications in the future, this experience will benefit me a lot. Furthermore, I learned JavaScript through this project, and I can apply it to the backend development. Thanks to Node.js, the JavaScript can be used not only on browsers, but also on servers. Also, PHP, one of the most popular languages for backend development, can run JavaScript. It will hugely benefit me if I seek to be a full-stack developer. The app itself has also room to improve. It was so critical that I couldn't release this web app until today, so I need to complete it as soon as possible. After releasing the web app, I also plan to measure the impact by collecting access data and release English version to reach US organizations such as international student offices in community college and utilize APIs for real-time exchange rates. In conclusion, I created the web app to visualize the educational costs and help current and future international students with informed decisions. I use front-end technologies including HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and Material UI. The web app visualizes the difference of educational costs in 5 interactive ways, and there is still room to improve this project. Thank you all for your listening, and I am happy to answer any questions you might have. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
This is such a clear and convincing presentation. If this is a project proposal to my company, I am 100%. I want to be a member of this project. And I really like that how you're really putting a lot of work into this and learning new skills from scratch. That's absolutely amazing. And I really think the design of the app addressed the needs of a lot of international students, right, including myself. I wish I had that have this when I was a student.
Guess I first of all want to say that I think it's very impressive that you picked up a skill from scratch and actually turned it into a product. Especially it was part of an extracurricular project, right? It was not something you had to do. I feel like I always find it hard to get through that learning barrier, especially for something that I don't necessarily have to do, right? I have trouble learning systematically, and I think I always learn enough just to get by. So I think your project, it being extracurricular and also high the learning curve speaks a lot to your perseverance, and I think something that you should emphasize a lot in your presentation, which I think you do.
皆さんご視聴いただきありがとうございます。英語を本気で学びたい、海外留学に行きたいという方向けに公式 LINE では無料の特典を用意しております。セミナーや無料カウンセリング、留学体験談など概要欄から公式 LINE をクリックしてお気軽にお問い合わせください。